is no bueno. And if I switch the internet, I am afraid that we are going to be put in a position where the stream will drop seriously and it will restart the VOD. Did the VOD restart or nah? Hi, Books. Hey, what's up? I'm very concerned because we only have YouTube comments. I think YouTube is or we only have Twitch comments. I think YouTube is completely down. It might be worth switching to the internet on my phone because Lemony's internet here is like not super fantastic for streaming for some reason. Twitch VOD time is still going. All right. Well, if we drop on the Twitch VOD, I'll make the transition over. But yeah, it's kind of disappointing that we've lost YouTube because of this internet problem. It does occasionally just randomly drop out, and I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning behind it is. But YouTube is back up bookie. Oh, okay, cool. Good to know. Then we'll go ahead and continue here. But yeah, it just randomly drops to 0. It's not a bitrate issue or anything like that. It's just straight up a Wi-Fi issue. I don't have a long enough cord to run it to the computer, unfortunately. So we'll have to kind of deal with it a little bit here.
Okay, so you are saying be nice, and there's certain things we shouldn't attack people for. And I'm saying I don't care. I'll attack people.
He's not saying anything about be nice. Let's kind of. I wish the Chud would drop that because it's getting a little bit annoying.
Whatever lines I want to. I don't fucking care. It's funny.
Okay. You can, and we have a difference of opinion on this, but you know, it is what it is. I'm just saying that we want to. I want to. Okay, I don't know what the fuck you want. It's all good.
There we go.
I
love this. We're recognizing this significant difference in what we want. Right now, what's frustrating is in a conversation like this, we don't seem to be looking across the aisle at the different ways that people engage in seriously confronting that. Instead, we're kind of just preaching about what we think and not really finding any common ground here. But that's the nature of these conversations, you know. People don't go for the same things I go for. I'm sure this is fun content for some folks.
Your position was just, I don't like the fact that Chud attacks people for, like, you know, uses as a vector attack. That's fine. And I admit I've not listened to the whole conversation. I got heated and I messaged you, right?
Okay.
But you're making it sound, and this is my problem. You don't know what you're talking about, and that's okay. I know you cover more important stuff.
What do you mean I don't know? How do you know I don't know? How do you know I haven't watched every single fucking minute of this drama? How
Because
do you know
the way that you're characterizing it demonstrates that you either don't know or you're lying about it.
Oh, give me a break. Maybe I didn't reveal everything. Maybe I was just focusing on one thing. See,
I feel like this is pretty dumb too from IRI, because I feel like IRI opened this entire conversation by basically admitting that he doesn't know every minute of this drama because that's a lame thing to do. Oh, this is not a good argument, but okay, let me continue.
This is nonsense. You're assuming a bunch of shit.
But this is the problem. You don't know the story as to why what happened. And if someone like is atting me on Twitter and giving me shit, I'm going to give them some shit back. Well,
oh, what did they get? Fucking 13 engagements, 47 views on that, Chud? Did you really get your feelings hurt by the guy calling you out?
Right. Let me ask you a question, okay? Let me ask you a question. Let's say that someone tweeted out that I'm a rapist, right? And the tweet only gets 5 likes, but I happen to see it.
Are you saying
so
I should
respond to that?
Now your destiny, we go straight to rape. Okay, what if Hitler tweeted about you? Come on, give me a break. This is ridiculous. If someone accused you of rape, of course you can respond. That's not what happened here. Stop.
But hang on a second.
Did he even say rape or did he say racist?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let's say that someone tweeted out that I'm a rapist, right? Is the fact that it's only got 5 likes is then irrelevant. So there must be some other factor by which you were judging when I've got an ability to respond, right?
No.
Well, there must be.
Yes. No, there is. He's got you. Because he budged on the rapist thing, it sounded like. So that's kind of a problem. But here's the thing. IRI has, hey, don't bother responding to people that are small. That's one thing. I don't think that's a very good argument. I don't think it's compelling for Chud because of his content, because of the way that he carries himself on the platform. So let's put that one aside. There is a separate one that we shouldn't be making fun of people for their small view count. Then there is a whole separate kind of subpoint to that we want to make sure that a lot of people in the Twitch space can thrive. We want to create an environment where new people are able to join and grow and whatever, and that's like a sub point. But these are two different things. The point about not making fun of people because they are small and the point about not replying to small people are different. I think this one is not very I mean, both of these aren't going to work very good against Chud, but at least with this one, you might be able to get some ground, or you might be able to get some people to agree with you, right? We'll put that back up there. With this one, and I will reach into the toolbox and grab DGG and Destiny here for a second. If somebody has heard arguments like the ones that Steven puts forward about people taking shots at people bigger than them, thinking they're not going to get a response, maybe that's not a good justification. Like maybe they shouldn't feel safe in believing that. If you take public shots at a public person, you best be ready for those fucking, fucking a 5-ton projectile from that warship coming out and hitting you, right? Just because you're shooting at it with a little 22 BB gun should not then mean that the ship can't strike back at you, maybe, right? So if anybody is kind of, in agreement with those sorts of arguments, and they've heard it from Steven or from Vosh or from anybody else, they're gonna have a way more difficult time with this idea of not responding to people simply because they're smaller. So we have two different kind of branches of arguments here, and one is it has a possibility of getting somewhere or appealing to viewers, and one I just really don't think it does.
You're focusing on the weeds, man. I'm looking at the whole forest here, dude. You're trying to get down and look at each fucking blade of grass here with a microscope. What do you want about?
Crazy today.
Well, no, because you're suggesting, right, that I can't attack people on well, there's two things. You're saying I can't attack people for having low viewers, and secondly, if someone is small and doesn't get much engagement, I shouldn't respond to them. But then when I've said to you about...
Excellent from Chud. He's seeing this kind of two-part dynamic here. Let's see what he does with it now that he's recognized it.
Someone accused me of rape. You said I can respond to them in that instance.
That's not... I did not say because someone gets very few engagements, you shouldn't respond. I was talking about this one situation. You brought it up. The guy said that, Chud made fun of Chud's an idiot or whatever for saying that you shouldn't be drunk on the job or whatever. I don't know. Who cares about that? That's not rape. He said something that probably 90% of your audience agrees you were wrong on. Who cares?
Well, but this is the thing, right? All I'm saying to you, because you seem to suggest that the reason I can't respond is because they're small, and we've established that the size of someone doesn't necessarily matter as to whether you respond to them or not. Okay, but that's what you were suggesting. That's what you just said. You said if someone's not getting any engagement... Okay.
Let me clarify that. I'll make it very simple.
Okay.
You were attacking this person, amongst other things, for being a slob. One of them, I think that's even worse, being a slob.
Why is that worse? Filthy Casual Magic has a good comment here. The YouTube is down apparently. It goes on and off. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to ignore it because there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. So as with many problems in the world, honestly, my prescription, if you can do nothing about it, is to try to ignore it. And you can help me ignore it by not commenting about it because I'm sick of hearing it. IRI should just say, quote, you can respond without talking about their size. Yeah, I definitely think some clarity here and really focusing and repeating and pushing that forward is going to be helpful. But the waters have been muddied. We have different points here. We have different sub points, right? The water has gotten muddy. The fight has begun. There's a lot of points floating around in the water right now. It's going to make it difficult to focus. So that's also something to keep in mind as we continuously pause over and over again. It's a lot easier for us to see these problems in these folks. But yeah, focusing on that in particular would be a good move from IRI. I guess time will tell if he's able to do it.
I've been drinking, we don't know what's going on in this guy's life. But another characteristic that you seem to have a lot of fun lately teasing people about is having no viewers. And I think that's kind of fucked up.
Okay.
Because it takes time for some people to find their voice. Not everybody hits the ground running. Some people, I think everybody's a rock star. They got something on the inside that made them go. And if they find out that this isn't for them, then they find out it's not for them. But they don't need you giving them a hard time because they don't have viewers. I think that's kind of fucked up.
Here's the thing, though, is you're removing so much of the context of what's happening, right? So the other issue that I've got with this person is they're going on a stream with Dylan, the biggest stream that they've ever been on in their fucking life. It's just stuff of dreams for people, right? And he's there drinking and trying to criticize Dylan for his show and his conduct. And that to me is like an inconsistency. He's there fucking drinking whiskey from the bottle trying to tell...
Now, again, it would appear that Chud is doing the strategy of, because he has the informational advantage here, drip feeding it throughout the conversation. I'm happy it's coming up. I think it is a strategy that's going to work if you have more information than the other person. However, this point kind of would have been better to bring up than the initial tweet that he brought up, because it didn't really help him make his case. This one more so, probably. So here we are, something that actually has to do with criticisms and whatever of somebody larger and how they should run their shit, especially when they invited you into their house on their stream when you're that small and not taking the opportunity seriously and drinking and whatever. However, remember how I talked about Chud and what he got, popular for, or what he does on his stream is one thing, and that's worth keeping in mind. If this dude is just a drunkard and gets drunk on his stream all the time, and that's his thing, then him taking it seriously is drinking on the stream. He thinks that's what people come there for, or that's what makes him funny, so he's going to keep doing it. So, it's not necessarily the case that he's not taking it seriously by drinking, although I think generally we should encourage people not to do that. But, is IRI still questioning whether you should stream at all, Booksmarts? I don't know, dude, honestly.
Oh, Dylan, what's what? And he's like a 4-viewer Andy.
Go again. Now, what does him being a 4-viewer Andy have anything to do with giving Dylan his opinion on his content? What does that matter? Dylan brought him on. And this is another thing. You guys love bringing these guys on and fucking with them in front of everybody. And you're going to pump on them. You're going to bop them. I don't get it, man.
Because his opinion fucking sucks. If he came on and gave a substantive critique of what Dylan is doing and something actionable that takes into account what it is that Dylan...
But again, I hope IRI says this. If the opinion is bad, focus on the opinion being bad. It's not a super helpful point unless in a very specific scenario to be bringing up the view count and stuff. Maybe that's a bit of a trope that's been overused by people that reach a minimal level of success or something like that, right? Like Chudlogic, again, if we zoom out in the space, he's not a multi-thousand viewer Andy. He's not somebody that has had this success prolonged since the beginning of Twitch or something like that. He's not balling out of control Hassan style or Mizkif style, right? He's not, but then again, maybe it's helpful for the viewers to know the vast majority of streamers will never, ever break that 100 viewer mark. So, there are multiple ways of viewing this, I think, but, I personally agree with IRI's advice to not be making fun of people for how big they are, but instead to focus on what your problems are with their argument. I think it looks better for you. I think it's probably better for keeping people in the space and hoping that they make the improvements that you want or realize the problems that you're bringing up, right? If I were to come on somebody's stream and the reason that they gave for me being wrong about something was that, hey, look at this guy's IRL stream where he gets fucking 3 viewers or something like that, I'm not taking seriously their criticism. I would think that they can't criticize me because they're bringing this up, it just doesn't help your point too much. But it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to be funny for stream, then I'm certain a bunch of people would find it funny.
And does. Then yeah, I'd have no problem. I probably wouldn't even bother watching it.
Of course his opinion sucks. He doesn't know anything what the person goes through, right?
Why are you attacking small streamers? What are you doing? You can't attack small streamers like that. That's terrible.
It doesn't have anything to do with being a small streamer. It has to do with not being the person walking in those shoes. I don't know what you go through. You don't know what I go through. Nobody knows what Dylan goes through. They don't know where his mind's at or what he's trying to do. So of course their opinion's going to suck. But being a small streamer has nothing to do with it.
Well, no, it does have a lot to do with it, because if you're
there was a bit of a slip and a save there by IRI. So I think there was a very quick adjustment to make clear, well, I'm saying he doesn't know what he goes through, not because he's smaller than Dylan, but because we don't know what anybody goes through. Everybody's different. A slip and a catch from IRI, because that was going in a direction that would not have been good for him.
Small streamer, you don't necessarily have the requisite experience or knowledge or you don't know what it's like to have that many viewers and what it takes to sustain those viewers, what it takes to even build up to that level of viewership.
I disagree. I don't know what it takes for Dylan, and I don't feel like I'm a small streamer, but I don't have an idea what it takes for Dylan to get where he's at. I don't think you know what it takes for Dylan to get to where he's at.
Well, okay. I've criticised it in the past, but I've tried to do it in a way that is like a substantive, pointed critique of something specifically that he's doing that I didn't like. So he had these debates between a trans person and a transphobe about trans issues. And despite him trying to do this like wrestling show mentality and it would be fun, it just came across as mean-spirited. It wasn't fitting with the theme of the show that he was trying to do, right? Now, I'm sure I'm not the only person that levied that criticism, but since then he's developed his show, and I think he's worthy of praise for moving his show in a direction that's more fitting to the angle that he's trying to achieve. So I was able to do that by looking at the space, looking at my own experience and thinking about it and, giving that critique to him, right? And I've gained that by knowing the space, by being in the space, by looking at the space, by talking about the space a lot, right? The point I'm making is these small streamers come in from the outside, they've not fucking succeeded themselves, they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they want to come and levy these critiques, and they do it in a really sloppy way, and they do it whilst drinking on stream. I think it's fucking ridiculous, and it's like, just fuck off. That's my perspective.
Yeah, and I say, who gives a fuck? I think the Giga Chad mood is to say, I don't even give a fuck. That's, you know what I mean? Imagine if Hassan brought on every fucking little person that said something about him. Like, who gives a fuck?
Well, it's an opportunity for them, isn't it?
I don't understand. I don't know how this is so hard for you to understand. Why do you care? You're allowing yourself to care. You're the one who's getting your feelings hurt by these people. What is it?
So again, this gets back to some principled things that IRI believes. So in case you haven't watched a lot of IRI's content, a huge thing that he advocates for streamers is to focus on what you're doing, focus on the success of your show, focus on like your stream, your chat, your community. And don't let people sap energy and time and perspective and, emotional fortitude by trying to throw you off of what you're trying to do. And that's kind of reflected here as well. And I guess we'll see if that gets fleshed out more here.
Matter.
I mean, well, it's just funny. It's content. I mean, obviously that's a big part of it. Like,
then there we go. It's not necessarily that Chud cares a ton. It's that it's content, right? And I hope that IRI can confront this, like Chud does a different kind of content from IRI. So IRI's suggestions are just not going to work for Chud here.
I'm making content out of it. I'm not getting my feelings hurt as such. I just like talking shit. If someone talks shit to me, that's them saying to my mind, I'm going to talk shit at you, and so I'll respond in kind. Like, it's kind of what I do. I don't know. This is what I do. I don't understand why you're taking such an affront to the idea that if someone wants to talk shit to me, I'll talk shit back to them.
I don't have a problem with you talking. If you want to respond, like I told Rhizome, you guys can respond any way you want. If someone said something personal about me, I'd probably respond too. But I wouldn't bring up the fact that they're a small streamer to attack them.
Well, hold on, because no. All right, what are you doing? So the whole point that you just made is that we shouldn't respond. You shouldn't allow people to get into your head with the bullshit that they're saying, that the advice should be that you don't respond to them, right? That you shouldn't care. But that's like antithetical to what he just said, And I think the tough thing is he's putting forward all this advice, but when he follows that advice on his own, at the end of the day, he probably doesn't personally care. He doesn't spend a lot of time or emotional energy on like what Chud is doing if it's wrong. Right? So it's like he tries to jump back to this thing of like, well, I don't care if you do the things I'm telling you not to do on your stream, but my advice is not to do them. And if it comes up in a conversation, then I'll bring it up and I'll say, hey, I don't think people should be doing this thing. But that's really the extent of it, right? But even there, he's giving up on that principle in favor of either it's having a conversation with Chud or what I think is more likely, creating content with Chud here, right? If IRI was following to a T this idea, then he wouldn't even care what Chud is saying, right? And I think that's kind of where the murky practical area of this or the intersection of this exists, is like even this conversation is a result of not necessarily following that, right? So I don't know, tough.
Or that they're a failed streamer. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to advise him because he thinks he can help us resolve this disagreement.
Oh, good. You need help. 2v1. Because he's on your side, so sure.
No, it's not a 2v1. He's saying he's going to moderate.
No,
to
he's
help us
completely on your side. He's not going to moderate shit, but it's fine. Bring him in.
I would agree with Ira. Like, I don't know. But I guess we'll see how it turns out. Maybe he could, put aside his stuff and be a good moderator. I don't know.
Hey, Ryzen, how's it going? There's an accusation that we're going to do a 2v1.
Hold on one sec. I got to adjust my audio a little bit. I wasn't totally ready, but I hear the accusation IRI. Don't worry, okay?
Okay, go ahead. I'm not mad. You told me you're 90% on Chud's side on this, basically.
Well,
you kind of see what I'm saying a little bit, so I'm very curious to hear how you're going to moderate and be the guiding force in this combo. Let's hear it.
Yeah, well, I think you guys are just talking past each other. So I think Chud is saying, I was never shitting on people for their viewer counts, like because of their viewer counts. They came into the conversation for other reasons, and then I was shitting on them and having fun, and I'm within my right to do that. You're saying, well, you shouldn't, because it's not good to shit on people for those things because it pushes people out of the community, it burns bridges. But you're not saying that Chud was shitting on them because of their viewer count. You just want him to kind of clean up his act in the way that he's being a sort of beacon to the community, right?
If we look at like a transcript of this, I don't think it's true, but it is, I understand, in a non-like, oh, I'm gonna nitpick and think in this very technical way. If I zoom out from that, these are both worded in a way to kind of get people both to buy into the general vibe of them. I don't think it's about like the word by word nature of it, but the word by word nature of it, I don't think is true, but we'll see if they buy into this characterization of the conversation. Well, IRI is cool with Chud. Probably a lot of the reason that IRI is even having this conversation. Sure. Has nothing to do with wanting moderation. Lol, Chud is pretty damn transparent that his motivations purely reside in viewership count and profitability. More people in the cause, more views. Sure. I suppose that might be part of it as well. But if it's just them both repeating themselves and talking back at each other, that's bad for content and it's bad for the conversation. So maybe a third person could spice things up and be what's necessary to both move it forward for content purposes and for the conversation purposes. I think that could be a multifaceted purpose there.
I mean, that's part of it, but also like there's so many other things to shit on them for. If that's what you want to do and you want to react to everybody who gets mad at you, then sure. But like, let's leave their viewer count and the fact that they're a failed streamer out of it. That's all I'm saying. Let's leave those variables out. You want to attack them for other things? I disagree. Right. Calling someone a slob, I think it's kind of fucked up. Nobody's a slob because like, I'm going to be a slob tonight. It's like someone saying I'm going to do heroin on the weekend. Like people are suffering, there's stuff going on in people's lives, man.
So yeah, but
did you not call that guy a slob? Did you not call that guy a slob?
Yeah, I did call him a slob. Yeah, of course. It was funny.
Okay.
He was drinking whiskey out of the bottle. Like, fuck it was crazy.
You don't, okay, so it seems very leftist of you to attack people for excessive drinking and being overweight. Like, that's brilliant, Chud.
Jesus.
Okay, this is pure soy. Like, just because I'm a leftist doesn't mean that I can't have an interpersonal issue with someone and give them some shit.
Well, shouldn't you care? Don't you think you should be kind of considerate of what people are going through and why somebody would be in a bad place or something?
Can I ask you something?
Oh, wowie.
Do you get this animated when you speak to Destiny about the way he behaves with like smaller creators and smaller Twitter accounts?
Oh shit!
I haven't had a chance to talk to him about something like this.
IRI put some fucking razor blades in his gloves, and now we're getting the same fucking razor blades in the gloves from Chud. Holy shit. Now we're swinging at each other. Now we're certainly swinging at each other. Holy shit. Let me see. I have an at for me. God, I'm going to ignore you guys on the Discord. Yes, I know about YouTube, bro.
You're the one in front of me. What does it matter if I talk to Destiny like this? What does that matter?
Well, I would argue that Destiny's behavior is like way worse than mine on this topic in terms of being an asshole to smaller people.
Am I talking to Josie now? What happened here? I thought Rhizome Joe. What are we on about here? Now we're turning this on to Destiny. Why?
Well, yeah, I mean, Chud, that was a bit of you are just trying to get a dunk right there.
Well, you're telling me I'm soying out. This is the soyest thing I've heard ever. To go say Destiny's bad, I can't.
Fuck, IRI handled that well. Let's see if Chud handles it just as well, because like there was a moment where both of them put bricks or razor blades in their gloves and hit each other. But then the hot potato fell on Chud here. But honestly, both of them could have been called out there.
Can't be bad because Destiny's the worst monster.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying you're more comfortable attacking me on this, okay? Because I'm an easier target, okay? And that's fine if you want to go for an easier target. That's fine if you want to go for an easier target, okay? Listen, it seems pretty obvious to me. I think people in chat agree with me.
Give me a break.
All right, well,
that is so soy. That is so copping out. That is so copping out of the argument. Good God.
Explain why you're levying the criticism then.
I mean, let's go ahead and check out the chat. Chudlogic, you don't have enough clout, my guy. Let's see here. Chud is Josie. What aboutism, Chud? Chris fucked up. Don't know who Chris is. Soy. Chud, stop. You're digging yourself deeper. That was a good pivot. Kind of loser. POV. Keck W. Chud got. So I don't know. But now that he prompts them, perhaps we'll get a different response from the people who haven't decided to put in a chat message as of yet. But that's me reading from the chat.
Because it was right in front of me. I don't watch Destiny's content as much as I watch Chud's. I saw it right in front of me. Well, yeah, you're someone I enjoy your content. I mean, what do you want from me? I saw you crapping on this guy. I consider you a friend, and so I brought it up. Well, I wouldn't bring up something on a panel to attack you. Like, I obviously knew you were going to see it, you know.
Destiny, but here
yeah, sure, but I just think that your critique or whatever is just kind of like, it's just you're just generally telling me to be nice in terms of there's certain things I can't attack. And the other problem as well is you're saying that to me. There's other people that would probably say to me there's other aspects of, you know, this person that I can't attack or go after, you know. So I kind of end up in a situation where it's like, well, what can I go after? And it just seems to be that
no. Yeah, we're entering into a bad period for Chud in this argument here. Is everything off the table now? If it stops here, where does the censor stop? I can't talk about anything. God damn it! Like, well, no. So we had whataboutism, and now we're having this slippery slope thing. Kind of two back-to-back not great bits of argument from Chud here.
Collectively, if I was to follow this advice, I just have to be nice to people. And it's like, I don't want to be nice. I like being toxic.
God. That is such a stretch. That is such a ridiculous inference.
Wait, how is that a stretch, IRI?
Because all I'm saying is let's not attack people for their viewer count or for being a failed streamer. I mentioned the slob thing because I think that's ridiculous, but if you want to do that, then you can do that. But my whole point on the panel...
Are you asking him to do that just to be nicer?
No, I'm not asking him to do that to be nicer. I'm asking him to do that.
Outline the imperative.
Because I don't want to chase away people from the space who otherwise may get used to it and realize, hey, these people aren't that bad, or I see what's going on here.
Okay, I mean, I guess the thing is like, I don't believe that my behavior is chasing people away from the space at all. I don't... I think you need to demonstrate that I'm doing that just by, you know, saying to someone, oh yeah, you've got no viewers and you're a slob. I don't think that's meaningfully chasing people away from the space. If that is going to make it so people just stop streaming, I mean, that's you know, I've done them a favor because it's going to get way worse than that if they ever do grow.
Sure, but
I mean, look at your chat right now. You got people saying bullying is good. Do you believe that, Chud? Do you think bullying people is good?
Yes.
What's up, Lemonies?
In sincerity, you think bullying people is good in general?
Yeah, sure. We like bullying.
So sometimes I make criticisms about Chud's community, right? And when I do, I want you guys to kind of remember this moment. So, because I think it kind of perfectly encapsulates a lot of my problem with it, is this like, bullying is good. We like bullying people. It's funny. It's of course not something I want to do with my community. It's not something I think is like good for the Twitch space. If you've talked with me in private about this on my Discord, which you can get to by doing !Discord, I'm on there all the time and I randomly jump into the voice chats and give my 2 cents on all sorts of stuff that I can't talk about on stream. You know, if you've ever engaged with me, then you know I kind of have a problem with this. I think it destroys the politics space. I think that when you make a huge part of your culture about like making it difficult for people to exist there without, you know, feeling attacked for this, that, or the other thing, it makes it difficult for new people to join. And if those new people also, like they're in the position of this guy, they don't have viewers, they don't have an active chat, they're not making money doing it, especially for people who would otherwise be intelligent or good contributors or whatever, they're not going to stick around. Even if they're a crazy Republican person or a crazy lefty person, I ascribe more to IRI's idea that having a diversity of voices and having a diversity of successful creators who can sound off on different aspects of like events and things like that is a good thing. It really helps us. And if we kind of shit on everybody, then we make it really difficult to join and stay in the space, right? It turns into a bit of a crabs in a bucket thing, and I just don't like that, right? And to his point about handling things, remember that your endurance for criticism on the internet, in my humble opinion, as a streamer who has been streaming for, I think it's over 2 years now or whatever, my opinion is you level up like it's a skill. Some people, sure, they're at level 5. Could they handle a level 80 boss that maybe even Steven or Chud would struggle with? No, hell no. But because they can't handle a level 80 boss, that doesn't mean that they then shouldn't engage in the space because, oh boy, it gets harder. Like, we wouldn't go into an MMO and say, well, if you can't handle this level 80 raid boss, then maybe you shouldn't play the fucking game because it gets harder, kid. Like, well, no. I mean, your level is going to increase. Your skill at the game is going to increase as you find your voice, build confidence, get better at other skills. Then your ability to endure criticism and endure the negative parts of the space increase in level, right? Like for me, like if I was bullied as hard as I've been, talk shit on lately, when I first started, I would have quit. I would have just done something else. I would have kept trying to get the essay thing to go back. I would have decided to get a part-time job and, live in the van for only as long as I needed to. And then whatever, my trajectory as a streamer would have been very different. So if I had a streamer who wasn't even a huge streamer, if they were at Chudlogic level and they made it a point to roast me and I got the kind of negative criticism I would have gotten, maybe I would not have continued. And that's not a mark on my ability to have continued success in this space because I stayed on for a long time. I think it's just like people are at different levels when they start out, and that's worth remembering. I think people like Chud, people like Steven, they show you that they're starting at a higher level when they come in. They have more endurance for this nonsense. Chud's been through a lot of really bad criticism early into his streaming thing that he overcame, which demonstrated he had a good stomach for it. But look at aristocracy. Like, that's a wonderful example of somebody who had to over time level up that skill. They didn't come into the space having that. And it's something they've gotten better at dealing with, in my opinion, over time. But just because they started at a low level does not mean that they're not going to find success in the space or that they should quit now. And I think we're kind of hurting this space. We're hurting the success of our MMORPG if we force situations where a level 5 player has to encounter a level 80 raid boss. Because, yeah, they're going to lose. But just because they lost now doesn't mean that they're gonna lose when they've grown to the point where they actually confront that organically. I think cutting all the steps and then putting people in positions where they have to fight that level of criticism or that level of kind of bad faith mockery or whatever, I don't think that's a positive thing. And I think that's where IRI is coming from here, but I don't know. Nice kitchen, by the way. Well, that goes to Lemonies, yeah. This seems more about constructive criticism versus trash talk. Sure. But I don't think he's necessarily saying it needs to be constructive criticism either. I think he's saying that certain things should be off the table for making fun of people for a variety of different reasons. The small streamer thing has its own reasons. The slob thing has its own reasons, right? We should just be more thoughtful about the criticisms we're levying at people if we want to make a space where more people can come up. But Chudlogic doesn't want that. So that is a core disagreement. As IRI wants the space to grow and succeed and whatever, I think that Chud is more interested in his personal success, which is going to lead him to a different place there. I don't think Chud necessarily cares about growing the space or letting smaller creators grow or whatever. I don't think those are things Chud cares about the way that IRI cares about them, and that's going to be a sticking point here. Why do I not hear anything?
IRI, what's your problem with?
What do you even? How do you even react to that? That's the most soy, pathetic thing I've heard in a long time. You know what bullies are? Bullies are sad little people who have no self-esteem and have to lash out at other people. And as soon as somebody strikes back at them, they crumble like a little bitch.
Well, it's not me. Listen, it's not me striking first. I'm defending myself. If anything, I'm getting bullied.
Really? You're the one getting bullied? By whom?
Okay, right. You talk about this endless guy. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, okay? This guy was talking shit about me.
How do you know that? How do you know I don't know that?
Because your presentation of it is that I'm just randomly going and attacking this like small streamer. Okay, explain to me then. What happened? Explain the endless drama to me then. Off you go.
Really? I'm going to explain hours of whatever.
I think it's important that we understand your context, like your understanding of the context, so that you can levy this criticism. Yeah, I think you need to substantiate that you have like a decent understanding of it. Oh my God.
This is
that you guys?
This is an example of, I think, Rise, I'm picking a little bit of a side here. Because, I mean, as we've talked about here, having Chud explain helps everybody move forward in the conversation. Having IRI prove that he understands things it's kind of focusing more on letting this point stand in criticism of IRI than it is on moving the conversation forward. It would be a difference of opinion and moderation here. But, you know, if we want to help both people make their criticisms against each other hit as hard as they need to hit, then I suppose, you know, bolstering this one might make sense.
Are you serious? I need to substantiate my understanding of your guys' little stupid drama?
If you want to talk about it, yeah. Otherwise, don't fucking talk about it.
What do you mean?
You
explain to me your understanding of Joe Biden's decision-making with the southern border.
Wait, no, Ryzen, wait a second. Wait. Listen, IRI, I don't talk about Joe Biden on the southern border because I don't fucking know about it, okay?
When you're trying to say whether something was handled correctly or not, IRI, I think it's important that you demonstrate that you know what happened in the situation, at least a cursory understanding.
I'm not saying anything was handled correctly. You guys think I give a flying fuck about the way it was handled? I'm talking about specific characteristics you guys are attacking that I don't think we should. Now, if you want to keep doing that, you can. I don't give a flying fuck about how this situation was handled or your relationship with these people or the details of what happened. You think I have time to give a fuck about that? Come on. This is pathetic.
Well, you got time to talk about it on a panel, haven't you?
I'm invited to a panel. I'm on the panel. Of course I'm going to talk about it. It's Chaos Cast. You're going to bring up your grievances with the platform and the space. That's what you do on Chaos Cast.
So what you said on the panel was Chud was shitting on this dude endless. And you're looking at his viewer count, pulling up his Sully gnome and making hours of content out of that, right? So you were kind of saying you have an understanding of the situation.
I didn't say it was over
understanding, but really quick, really quick, that understanding that you brought didn't comport with what Chud felt was the reality. And then you went on to prescribe like methods to improve the way that we do things based on this.
I did not say it was about endless. I did not say that. I think Chud did bring up his stats though, if I'm not mistaken, but I was talking about this other guy, this beer whatever guy. I don't know what his name is.
Okay, so in that situation with the beer dude, your opinion is that Chud brought up his Sully gnome and was shitting on him for hours in a needless way, in a way that was just pointless and gratuitous.
No, it's that you shouldn't do it at all. It's not about how it fits in the context of things, Rhizome. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys can help me out. Do you feel like I'm nitpicking with Rhizome as moderator here? Because I could just drop off of Rhizome. I think it's probably more productive to focus on Chud and IRI anyways. But it's worrisome because Rhizome, I know, comports more with Chud's beliefs. So I can't help but be tuned in and trying to sniff for where it seems like he's not really understanding IRI at all or demonstrating that in his moderation abilities. But I mean, I feel like maybe I'm picking a little too hard on Rhizome here. No, I like the critiques of the moderator. Okay, well, that's Tico's opinion. They're gonna hate each other by the end of the month. That is what happened to all the old blood sports communities. Somebody in my Discord, I don't know if it was you, always looking at self, but we were talking in my Discord about the fall of the like right-leaning blood sports, Thunderdome community and how it fell apart and how a lot of the things that led to that falling apart we're seeing in Twitch politics. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to what you're saying there. I don't think Rhizome has a rightful place in this conversation. Damn, Romita's going above and beyond there. I think Rise sometimes gets lost in the logic debate sauce. Sure, but to be fair to him, I mean, it is easy to get lost in, especially if you're not taking notes or not, having the ability to pause the way we are. That's always a tough difference in perspective I struggle with as a reviewer who's trying to do a good job of it, is like, when we're pausing every 2 seconds and I'm writing stuff down in front of me here, like it's a lot easier to follow. But Jack might know about the fall of right-wing infighting. He might.
I did not. I corrected the statement that Chud brought up his viewers for hours. I said Chud shit on him for hours, but he brought up his viewer count on stream for everybody to see and laugh at. And I said that's from Mike from PA bullshit. That Mike's done that to me as a way to put me down.
So to the person earlier who mentioned this might be about Dan, sounds like it's at the very least about Mike. That Mike did this to IRI, and that IRI remembered that when he was smaller than he is today, and that's something that stuck with him, and it was a learning moment. And he said, hey, I don't like the way that felt. I don't feel like that's fair. That's not something I'm going to do. When I see it, I'm going to point it out as something that we ought not to do, because it's going to have a negative impact on people coming up in this space, and it's not fair, right? So now he's learning from that experience and definitely applying that. I don't know about the Dan thing, frankly, but this is what we've heard here.
So you're sensitive about this then? That's what it is. You're sensitive about being mocked for your own viewership.
No. A moment ago, Chud, IRI said, I don't give a fuck if you guys continue to do this. So I think, IRI, are you just saying it's better to do this and you would hope we do the better thing?
Yes, of course. I'm saying that as someone who's experienced that, it doesn't feel good, and I'm saying there's no reason to do that when you can make fun of people for whatever dumb things they've done all you want. I'm just saying, let's try to leave viewer count out of it. If you don't want to do that, that's up to you. I'm not going to go on some fucking spiel. I'm not going to go online tomorrow and go on some rant about it. I don't care. I just brought it up on the panel.
Yeah, but my problem isn't that you know, if you just said, oh, I don't like the fact that Chud does that, you know, I'll probably be like, yeah, it's the fact you're misrepresenting drama, and to me it seems like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and it sounds like I'm just randomly. But the point is, you're making it sound in your description like I'm just randomly bringing up small streamers and shitting on them, right? That normally it's that they've given me some shit, yeah. And also the Endless situation is one great example where there's a lot more going on there that you don't know that you know justifies my response, I think.
Let's talk about, what did this Endless guy do to you that was so bad, Chud? I'd love to hear this. What did he do to you that was so bad?
Okay, so basically, this is a situation, right? He was like talking shit about me on a stream, okay? And so my first reaction was like, oh, okay, this guy's talking shit about me. He's one of these kinds of people that comes into the space, doesn't really get many viewers, and eventually fucks off, right? Something like that, okay? And then I ended up watching more content, right? And basically, this guy was like being really shitty to Ryzem. One of his friends was being shitty to Ryzem. They were being racist to Ryzem, which I thought was well fucking out of order. And then he was like and then someone ended up linking me this stream where he'd forgotten to end the stream, and he was like being a total snake about Dylan, and despite like having been nice to his face, he was like talking shit behind his back. So at that point, yeah, obviously it becomes like a, you know, coverage of the drama, but the point is like me mocking his viewership is like such a small part of that, and then over the course of my coverage it became more about the other shitty things he was doing and pointing that out and talking about it. So to characterize that as
so I hope that IRI does this. So did you hear, it's only a very small part of my coverage? Well, if you wanted to, like, if it's a very small part, if it's insignificant in size or in scope, does it need to be there, right? Like, I think that brings up that question a little bit here, and we'll see if IRI kind of dives into that, but that might possibly be an entry here to kind of move forward with what IRI is trying to do. But I again, when we zoom out, I don't think it'll be successful. I think this conversation's a bit of a not going to happen sort of deal.
I'm just shitting on him because he's a small streamer. It's just totally incorrect.
So what I just heard there, correct me if I'm wrong, that this guy said some mean things about you and your friends. Is that what happened? Is that really? Is that what happened?
Do you think racism is just saying mean things about someone? Like, I mean, sure, I guess you want to frame it that way.
To be clear, he was...
That's not what you said.
He did. Well, at least Endless was justifying racist slurs used against me for the last, like, in one of the conversations that we had. And he's claiming to be a bastion of blackness in the space and trying to create a space for black people while also gatekeeping blackness and things like that. So it wasn't just like, oh, he said some mean things. Like, no, he's being incredibly racist towards black people who don't fall in line with the leftiest position on black issues. And I wasn't out, like, I just chose the wrong side. So Chud wanted to make sure that that was clear, because this is something that Chud's been talking about for a while when it comes to woke scolds and leftier than thou types, right?
Okay, so this sounds like a problem between you and Rhizome, you and this Endless guy. So I'm still trying to figure out how Chud got involved in this, and he got so wrong.
So Chud got involved.
He covers dramas. I'm kind of losing it. If this doesn't get any better, I think... So I often like to make clear to you guys when I would probably dip out if I was watching this on like my own time. I probably would have dipped out within about 10 minutes at this point, because it's not good. We don't have like really good arguments. I kind of get the feel for how it's going to go. And I don't feel like investing the time to wait for some Hail Mary where it gets better. You know what I mean? So this is where I would normally call it. I'll let it play out for a bit longer. Let me see what these other... So Relly joins at this point. Maybe if it keeps going south, I'll just jump to where Relly joins and see what he says at the very beginning. And then, that's probably where I'd go from there. IRI let him get away with the main point, and now we're lost in the weeds. Well, that's certainly an opinion. I think they're completely talking past each other if he isn't. If he isn't what? So Chud doesn't like that IRI made it seem like that is all Chud does. Is he even mad about being criticized about the mock viewer account thing? Well, he set it aside when he was making that statement. He's like, well, if you say this thing about this, then that's one thing. But my problem is that you characterize that I spent, 2 or 3 hours or hours, whatever, on this, right? So I don't know if he's necessarily mad about being criticized, because it's one of those things where it's easy to put it in a box and put it to the side as a criticism that, like, if we take IRI's criticism here and all the reasons and we put it in a box and we take out the Sharpie and write on it, be nice. Okay. Yeah, be nice. I don't give a fuck about that, right? I don't think it's something Chud necessarily cares about. I don't think it's something he's mad about, because it's very easy to throw it to the side. I think the problem he has is the characterization of his content is only focusing on that for like 2 or 3 hours or something like that. So if IRI were to just drop that, perhaps we'd move forward. But we'd move forward to a place where he's just dismissive of the criticism more generally, right? Unless IRI keeps pushing on it. But, I guess that's another way that this can move forward, maybe.
That he feels vindicated in doing this. I'm just curious.
Chud got involved because he saw a moment where he can add to the discourse on why this is wrong, why this type of thing might have happened in the first place, what this dynamic is between people who have marginalized identities but don't land on the correct positions with like the most like online lefties out there, right? So he thought he could do some interesting analysis around that. And in order to do that, the question arises of who the fuck is this endless guy who's so confident with his criticism and analysis here?
Right. And do you guys think you solved the problem?
I'm just trying to add clarity to the situation.
So, I mean, solve the problem. I mean, I'm not looking to like solve the problem per se. I just see something shitty happening and I'm like, I'm going to talk about this on my stream because this is out of order. And people get away with this so much where, black people will be racist to like another black person and it gets swept under the rug because it's the woke kind of racism. And I'm just like, no, this is bullshit. And, I'm on good terms with Rhizome. I'm friendly with Rhizome. So it is a bit personal to me. And I, do feel emotional in some way watching it. I'm like, fuck this bullshit, I mean, if you think I can't speak about it because I'm not directly involved, that's fine. And yeah, I'll admit that the reason I started engaging with this is because he was shit talking me. But it basically is like this guy shit talked me. I found out all the shit he was doing, and I'm like, well, I'm going to talk about the shit that you're doing. I don't know. I don't think that's unreasonable. And yeah, I shit on him a bit for like his viewers and stuff. But firstly, that was a small part of the coverage I did in all of it. And secondly, there's a relevant point to be made there about people who haven't really done anything in this arena. They don't know what they're talking about, and they come in and act like they're the big fucking I am. And I'm sick of it. That's why I talk about the failed streamer industrial complex. There's all these people who haven't done anything and think they've got all the right to come in and give all these fucking takes and shit talk this person, shit talk that person, and I'm saying no, I'm done with it, I'm sick of it, and I'm going to talk about it and criticize it.
I mean, okay, if you want to do that, that's your business. But I don't really see why you're.
I'm skipping.
You can say that. I'm not going to fight you. I mean, that's your opinion. I just expressed my opinion, and you reached out to me and said, "What's going on?" You're the one who soyed out with 10,000 question marks. What do you mean? I don't give a fuck about any of this.
I don't care that you've got an opinion about what I should and shouldn't do in that way, okay? My issue is you're misrepresenting what happened, and you're making it sound like I'm some sort of monster who just brings up random small streamers to shit on them.
Why do we timestamp this spot if it's not where Relly joins the call? Come on, get better at timestamps.
There's absolutely no reason to do it.
3 sentences. You listened to 3 sentences of that conversation, and then you soyed out, and
because in those sentences you said some things wrong, and I kind of prejudged a bit in some ways, but it seemed like you didn't have a clue about any of this drama, and you were speaking on it. And all it is like, I don't talk about shit that I don't know about, so you don't talk about shit you don't know about either, or at least preface it by saying I don't really know what's happened, or something like that. But you were talking, like I've gone on for hours about this streamer, and it was because they're a small streamer, and there's all these other factors that have come into play that you don't know and you don't understand, and that's it.
Let's chill for a bit. Relly just jumped in. Relly, do you want to give us your take so far on what's going on?
Yes. Sure. I came in primarily because of the point of why it might be bad to make fun of people who have low viewer counts. And as you can see from my picture, I have the lowest viewer count on Twitch. My picture. So I take that marginalized status forever. But I think just for me, a big reason why I don't like the idea of making fun of people for having a low viewer count. And I will say, Chud, you did speak a little bit more about part of the reason why you were talking about his low viewer count had to do with like the mentality that he had, that he ran the show, or like he was like a significant character. I don't know who this person as much about this situation as you do, probably any of the people here do. But the idea that I might make fun of somebody because of a low view count, to me just doesn't really operate well for me, because it makes people feel a little bit uncomfortable with how they with like the content that they're putting out, that you're saying that essentially it's lackluster content, it's bad content, it's not good. And I think that's to be shown, that's to be seen. And I don't think view count, while sometimes it is a very good barometer for it, I don't think it always is. For instance, many of us started a low view count, yada, whatever, right? And we carried over for a low view count until certain things happen. The discoverability on Twitch is very bad. So you may have good content, but your discoverability just might be absolute garbage.
I don't think...
Yeah, like to comment on this real quick, and I'm gonna shit on myself here for a little bit. I think like early Booksmarts reviews, in my opinion as a viewer, are better than later Booksmarts reviews, because I had to make a bunch of compromises for what I thought people expected out of the chat and whatever. But as a viewer, I would have enjoyed some of my earlier content better than some of my later content, you know, like, but there was still that seed of what would have made reviews successful and stuff back there. It's just that, you know, I didn't hit my break and whatever. We streamed for many months without, you know, breaking into 3 digits or whatever. So, you know, I think Relly has some good points here that we haven't heard brought up so far. And of course, he is landing somewhere different than Rhizome here. I'm happy, hopefully, that we don't have Rhizome in a moderation position and instead have him embrace his kind of position of agreeing with Chud here and then have like a proper 2v2. I feel like that would be more interesting. And this is what I mean by skipping around through the content. I might find a different reason to be interested. So now I'm interested. Let's see how this plays out with Relly here.
To my knowledge, I mean, if there's anything that contradicts this, we can look at it. But to my knowledge, I don't think I've ever claimed that someone like necessarily makes bad content because they've got a low viewer count. In fact, I had someone on yesterday who is a very new streamer, and you know, I commented on like how funny they were, and you know, they seem like a good streamer. You know, I talk about people that I see that I think are up and coming, or like I think do good content and they're going to grow and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think I ever kind of say, oh, this person's got a low viewer count, so they've, you know, got bad content. I think that like, sorry, go on.
Okay, so then can I ask then can I get an answer then for what IRI was getting at earlier, which is what is funny about having a low view count?
I mean, why is anything funny? I mean, you know, I find it funny. Like, people find things funny. I don't know. I don't know if you can really justify why something is funny.
Well, generally speaking, you can just define why something is funny. Like, I don't know. I find you funny because I think you say things that are ironic and things you probably shouldn't say, but you say them coming from a place that we all can recognize as, you know, somewhere that's like educated about why you either shouldn't say them or whatever. So it doesn't hit the same way. It hits in a very different way. It's pretty funny. I'd say that is a reason why that's funny. But do you then, if you agree?
Well, I guess you're making. I guess the way I'd respond to that then is that like, I guess just bringing up like, okay, it's contextual. So if there was like a streamer, okay, say a streamer called, I don't know, streamer A, okay, and out of nowhere, right, I just brought up their stats and was like, hey guys, look at this small streamer. He's got no viewers, ha ha ha, you know, 3 viewers, he must fucking suck and he's got terrible content, right? You're right. People would look at me, right, and they go, oh god, this is a bit fucking uncomfortable. Why is Chud randomly mocking this person with low viewers? And I think that would be totally justified because it would be, you know, unnecessary and stuff like that. The comedy or the funny element comes in when there's some context that makes that action funny. So an example of that would be someone with a lot of confidence and acting like they're the big I am in the space and acting like they're pulling these moves, you know, bringing them up and saying, oh, look, this guy's only got 4 viewers. It's kind of like an element of humbling that person. And I think that's where the comedy comes from.
Exactly. That was something that I was saying earlier, where it's like, that makes sense to me. If this person's coming through and saying, I know exactly how Twitch works, I know exactly how this space operates, I know what will get you successful or what makes you
Chud stole my point. Chud literally said hubris and everything before, bro. You literally stole Chud's point. And I think you've been here long enough to hear that part of it. He literally said hubris, Broken, so
successful or whatever, and they got 2 viewers. That's kind of funny. That's a kind of funny thing. You're talking about how you know how the algorithm works and how to get big and how to get successful, but you're pulling 2 concurrent viewers. Like if you don't know, why aren't you doing it for yourself? Right. I don't disagree with that. That's and I believed you were saying that as it was coming in, and I think that's fine and all that. But I'm just saying to the effect, and I don't know specifically, and if that's the context with which you said or made this joke, I don't know how consistently you're drilling the like low viewer count thing or anything like that. But I just wanted to come in because I heard arguments made about like why it might be bad to make fun of people with lower viewer counts, and I think that it's generally bad to do as a generality, as it seems like you might have agreed might be the case because you said in a vacuum, independent.
Yeah, that's obviously going to be my take. If nothing else has happened and there's just a random streamer that's not said anything to me, I've not said anything to them, and I bring them up on stream and start mocking them from the view account, yeah, obviously that's terrible and a horrible thing to do, and like I wouldn't do that, right? But the point is there's a context with which that whilst it doesn't morally justify it or something like that, it at very least is somewhat funny, and I like doing funny things, and so I'll do that, right? And I don't think there's like a moral imperative for me to not do that, because I don't think that that's causing some harm that, you know, I need to stop.
Okay, we entered into very different territory at the end of that statement, right? Because I don't think we've really dove into the harm thing, and Relly seems to be on a different page there. So let's see what Relly does.
Wait, do you think
that's where the conversation got to before you got here, Relly, where I was asking IRI to demonstrate the moral imperative to do such.
So wait, do you not think that there's a harm in making fun of, so let's say in a vacuum, right? Would you say they haven't done anything to you? Would you say there's a harm in making fun of small streamers for their low viewer count?
He already said that that's a problem.
Not necessarily, no. It could go that way. It could also motivate people to push on harder to prove someone wrong. So I don't know if it's like necessarily a harm. It could hurt their feelings and mean they give up quitting completely. It could also hurt their feelings and they go, well, fuck this guy, I'm going to prove him wrong, and they push on and go further. But so I think unprovoked, it probably is gonna, you know, and if they're sensitive, you don't know them or something like that, you know, I think that for me, if someone's like shit talking you, right, that to me is a sign, well, I'm gonna shit talk you back, and I'm gonna go for what I think's gonna upset you, right? Because that's what shit talking's all about. You're trying to upset someone. You're trying to poke at something that they're uncomfortable about, right?
I doubt it's gonna go here, but do I even mention it? Like, then I would say that Chud would want people to, in spite of their inability to back it up with success, to continue this shit talking stuff, because it might encourage people to keep doing, like, I don't know, dude, if we logic bro this, it goes into like weird places, but I mean, Relly has the ability or capacity to logic bro it, but I don't think we'll go there.
So,
surely.
You know, that to me is the whole situation with it. So, yeah, it might cause some harm. It might make them quit. I think that though, if someone's shit talking you, I'm going to go for the juggler and go for what I think is going to upset you. That's kind of how it works.
I'm not going to shit on your like fair meets fair, meet them where they stand in making fun of you. You're going to make fun of them. That's not really so much of an issue with my stuff or any.
Smart to do, because again, we have larger communities and larger arguments that have certainly felt like they've settled that already. So smart to move past that from Relly here.
The argument that I'm making, I'm just trying to figure out where there might be a disconnect, because I personally am of the opinion that making fun of somebody's view count in a vacuum is something that we morally should not do, because I think it does discourage people from making content they may otherwise want to make, and due to the lack of like discoverability and stuff like that on Twitch, that people can feel very self-conscious about their view count when they might be making phenomenal content but just not finding the views because they aren't getting promoted by other people. And unfortunately, that's a very big way for how a lot of people get found on Twitch, is by promotion of other people, like saying, hey, this person's really cool. And so
essentially, because that potential is there, the imperative should be that we don't make fun of people.
That should be the default stance. But I agree with Chud. Where
also, I will address this in case nobody knows. So Kat says, I wonder how Books earlier run-in with Chud about the IRI thing affects his perspective, if at all. When I mentioned in my last video about changes to the content, about trying to be more careful about like my personal ish and how that involves in these conversations. Yeah, like, I mean, I'm well aware that I've had my own ish with Chud, and I'm trying to like put that in the back of my brain and trying to work extra hard on squashing that, right? So, you know, I would like to say that it's not here. And to, like, you know, to be fair to me, this is a completely different point than the IRI thing. It doesn't feel really similar. You know, and if I do, then I bring it up. Like when we were talking about the bullying aspect, and that's what we do here. We do that, whatever. Then I'll bring it up because it's a little bit relevant, or you know, on a point like that, sure, I have history to back up why maybe I disagree with that point or whatever. You know, but I would like to say it's not impacting a lot of this coverage, but that's up to you, the viewer, to decide, right? So.
Or it's like, if for instance, you know, somebody wants to make fun of me for having lower viewers than Chud or whatever, like that's all fine, because you know I can take it and we have a back and forth and I'm not competitive with you. Like, you know, given certain contexts, we can do that. We can have that back and forth. But as a default, without really knowing somebody and unprovoked and stuff, I would say it's a bad thing to do.
Yeah, but for me, I guess that's more just about that you don't have like a relationship with them, or they've not done anything to you to provoke that, right? Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess that would be my whole thing there. IRI, would you disagree with? So do you disagree with Chud's position that he can make fun of somebody's view count if somebody's like making fun of him for something that we would consider a similar insult? Or do you think that like he should rise above that or something?
Well, I definitely think he should rise above it, but I don't think there even was a conversation or an argument from this other person. And I didn't watch every detail. Okay, I don't think there was an argument from this other person that
this other beer person being the beer person or Endless.
I don't know either.
I don't agree with this. Like, if someone shit talks you, they might take a mild hit at you, but I don't agree that it has to be equal. If someone shit talks you and you want to shit talk back, you're going to go for the things that are going to upset them. And to me, if someone's a small streamer with no viewers, I'm thinking they're probably going to feel a bit sensitive about that. So I'm going to attack that a little bit.
So he's even acutely aware of the impact he's having, or that it could cause them to quit. He just doesn't care. So I feel like we're going to keep looping. I'll give this another like minute or two of listening, but then I think we're going to just dip out of this.
So yeah, I don't think it has to be equivalent. If someone wants to shit talk you and they take a low blow hit and fucking miss, then that's on them, isn't it? But
well, there's a lot of things people are pretty feel bad about. You know what I mean? Why not make fun of them for a ton of things? Like, why not make fun of that guy for his size? Why not make fun of him for his drinking problem? Like, why are those more acceptable things to make fun of than his viewer count?
I mean, my chat were making fun of him for his size. I avoided that. But
why?
I did make fun of him drinking quite a lot.
Those things would hurt his feelings, right? That would be good.
Wafting.
Oh, everyone likes their own brand, don't they? This is magic.
Yeah, let's get a whiff of that. What brand is this? Oh, I'm smelling a Chudlogic grade is what I'm smelling. What's up, party people? So as you can see in the title or wherever it's at, let me open my OBS thing so I know and I don't look like a doofus. Up here, we're listening to Chudlogic versus IRI. We are about 58 minutes into it or something like that. I've heard a lot. If I were to TLDW it for you, I mean, I think that your streamer, Chud, and IRI, they believe very different things about streaming and their conduct in the space. So IRI believes in bringing up small streamers, having a variety of voices in the space, being the bigger person, ignoring people that take shots at you or take shots at the people around you, not giving attention to it, and helping everybody to grow so that we have this diverse and wonderful space. And that's going to benefit everybody in the long run, including the viewers. So that's what IRI believes. I think that as Chud viewers, unlikely that you subscribe to that because, on the other flip side, we have what Chud believes. Now, Chud runs his stream in a way that's very different from the way IRI does, as you, Chud viewers, would know. Chud responds to people that talk shit on him, irrespective of size. It's a huge part of his content. It's entertaining for people to watch, and that's what he does. So what I said is like, it's kind of like if you took a .22 rifle to a warship, right? What IRI is trying to do here. All of what Chud is like, all of the way he covers people and whatever, it's antithetical to the advice that IRI is bringing up. IRI is kind of running into the same problem, perhaps, that it sounds like this Endless person or one of these other people is running into. Like, it's like if you went on Hippy Dippy and you said, hey, I don't think you should be doing wrestling analogous content. I think that that's a bad theme and this and that. It's like, well, that's what I do, and that's what I found success doing. So you're not really going to convince me to stop doing that because I have every reason to continue doing it. So I think IRI is entering into a losing, uphill battle this entire time. And I don't even know if it would necessarily be good for Chud personally to adopt those things. Now, would it be better for the space? Probably. I would hope that most of you would agree with that. It would be better for the space if that stuff didn't happen. If we all played nice with each other and encouraged and try to bring everybody up. But that's not, what happens in this space. And that's what we have to kind of deal with here. And so, like, they just have vastly different outlooks on every single point that's brought up here. I don't think they're reconciling it between each other. You know what I mean? So it's... I was kind of losing steam with it.
Been watching for around a year.
I'll keep it up with you guys, so you could whatever. We wouldn't watch though. No, you wouldn't watch. But that doesn't mean that other people wouldn't. So here's something to keep in mind, Chud viewers. You like blood sports, don't you? You like a little bit of insulting. You like the spice, okay? You're like a good Englishman. You like that spicy, yummy curry. You like to pick the fucking 3 chili pepper level and get this shit real good. But if that Indian restaurant didn't serve mild, they would lose a lot of other Englishmen who may be less proper. They may not be the kind of, hard-stomached, manly Brits that you would like to make up the whole world or whatever, or that you might expect make up the whole world. But the fact is, if we didn't have both, it would be a smaller customer base for that restaurant. In much the same way that the Twitch politics space is going to be a smaller place in terms of creators and in terms of viewers if we don't have a wide variety of content for people to enjoy. I think it's undeniable that it's better to advocate for a diverse space where diverse viewers could come in because it's going to be bigger for everybody than to have the restaurant shop that only has the spiciest curry in town, because the people who can consume the spiciest curry in town are numbered much less. Or at the very least, we could have bigger numbers if we included both, right? So I'm not saying necessarily that this way for everybody to do it would be better, because if you had the spicy shop that only sells mild curry, you're not going to get the spice people. You're not going to get the people that love that spicy shit, right? Which is why the diversity of things is important. And I guess from IRI's perspective, and if you can't tell, I'm more along the lines of IRI's opinion here, you want to have the shop that has a variety of spice levels. And, I think that makes sense to me to advocate for. But it also makes sense to me that if you go to the curry shop that's known for being the spiciest in town, makes all of its business off of that, gets a lot of people through the door, sells out every day, whatever, and you're like,
hey, I think if you just sold mild, curry sauce, that'd be real good. There's lots of people that like mild. I can't stomach it. It's just too much for me. You're making people sick. Stop.
We have a lot of people through the door every day, and we fucking feed us and our family and our employees by serving spicy curry. If you want to not have spicy curry, you can go next door, okay? If you don't have the stomach for it, there are other restaurants that you could go to that you could get this stuff from, right? And so in that way, I don't feel like IRI is ever going to win or whatever, or push Chud, too far, because Chud already has you guys. He already has a lot of people that love spicy curry, and he's going to keep making spicy curry. That's what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to change his mind on that, right? And people love spicy curry. There's plenty of people that love it, I think that these larger critiques of the space are much more difficult to enforce when you go to the small restaurant by restaurant level. Yes, there should be multiple curry restaurants that may or may not contain mild, but it doesn't mean that we go to the spaces known for being spicy and necessarily go after them. I don't know if that's the best. I think these are huge stretches. Well, you know what? The only thing stretching is the bellies of Chud viewers with their massive amounts of spicy curry sauce. They're very happy to have their spicy curry. Tolerating the streamers with weak curry does not require us to condone them. No, it does not. It certainly does not, right? I just think if IRI were to follow his own advice here a little bit, that he probably shouldn't go too far or spend too much time on these arguments with Chud, because it's emotional energy, it's time, and it's patience that he is sacrificing on a cause I believe to be doomed from the start. If you bring it up to Chud in private, or if the only point of this is to maybe make content with Chud, it makes sense, but I just feel like you're not winning that battle, and if you followed your own advice, you wouldn't pursue it anyways. The spice brings the viewers faster. We lost a ton of academic streamers because their content just didn't catch on. And yes, here's another point. So, spice people. I hope I've demonstrated to you I understand the value of having spicy curry shops. Here's a problem. If the entire city becomes known for its spicy curry, and every shop decides that they're going to stop carrying mild because they only want to be known for the spicy curry shop, then we have a systemic problem which as Chud viewers, I hope you understand systemic problems. That creates a systemic problem, right? I think that we lose a lot of intellectual people who, here's another analogy that might help that you guys missed, is I talked about how Chud or Steven, let's take these two people, they start with a very high level of endurance for bullshit in the space. They can take a lot of drama, they can take a lot of bullets fired at them, and they get better and better at that over time. They level up, right? With every time it happens. Chud came into the space, he gets those pedo allegations. That's big. Or the grooming allegations, whatever you want to kind of phrase that as. That's big. That's harmful. That is a big raid boss. That is like a level like fucking 40 raid boss that he's fighting. But he was level 40. He handled it. He overcame it, right? There are people that join this space, particularly intellectuals, maybe people like me that worked in academia before this, that start at maybe like a level 5. They come into the game at like level 2, level 5. Now, their success or failure is not dependent at this point in time based on whether or not they can handle that level 40 boss or the level 80 boss that people like Steven or Chud have to run into. It doesn't mean they're not going to be successful because the point of the game in part is leveling up. Same with your content. You level it up. You get better over time. So you may start at a level 5, but as you deal with level 5 controversies, maybe you get lucky, you handle a level 10 one. I like to point to aristocracy as an example of somebody who clearly over time leveled up, right? Then you get better at it and you grow as a streamer. But if somebody threw a level 80 raid boss at you when you were level 5, you're just going to get your ass whooped. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad streamer. It doesn't mean you would have been a failure later on. What it means is somebody sicked a fucking level 80 raid boss on you intentionally and destroyed you, knowing it would probably destroy you, right? And I don't think that's something we should advocate for either. Because if we want to play a game where we have lots and lots of people to make friends with, lots of people to play the game, that success, that rising tide lifts all ships in the harbor, right? If we want that to happen, we need to have more people in this space. We need more voices. We need diverse audiences to be brought in here. We need people doing YouTube. We need people doing Twitch. We need people doing TikTok. We need people doing Facebook. We need people who bring spice. We need people who are mild. We need people that talk intellectually. We need people who are fucking lol-cow dumbasses, right? We want all of this because all of them bring a different audience that may have crossover. So one day, I might find myself in Chud's stream. I might be at the spicy curry shop. I'm a mild guy. I usually get that 1 chili pepper, maybe 2 if I'm feeling frisky. But today I went with friends and they're like, check out this Chudlogic guy. He's got the best fucking curry shop. That shit's spicy, but it's good as a motherfucker. It don't distract from the taste. All right, guys, we're drinking a little bit. I'll try the spicy curry. And I actually find out that was painful, but pleasant. I like the taste. It was a taste I think you only could have achieved with that spice. So now I know I like spicy content. And maybe most days, because that gives me the fucking runs, I don't always consume the spicy curry, but I do on occasion when I'm feeling like it. And now I know I like that because I came from one section and I went to another, right? But that only ever happens if I started with one, knew that I liked the food in general, knew that I liked curry in general, and then moved up in spice level. I learned that I like different aspects of the same content, right? I might be interested in politics, so I go to the politics space, but if all it is people shit-talking each other and being assholes, maybe I'm immediately turned off by that, and I leave. I don't like diarrhea. I don't see the worth in it. And maybe it encourages some people to start doing it and be successful at it that don't do a good job. I don't enjoy watching Infrared. He's spicy, but I do enjoy watching Chud. And he's spicy. Different kinds of spice, different restaurants. But if everybody's just doing spice to varying degrees of success, I can't put up with the spice if your shit don't taste good. And taste is subjective. So, you know, what we want to encourage is to have a broad, diversity of people in the space, diversity of voices, diversity of audiences, because it's going to be helpful to everybody to do that. I think that the decline in a space like the kind of ridoid, debate Thunderdome space is something we're unfortunately seeing play out in our current space. And it's not just because Steven left or something like that. It's because we aren't appealing to lots of people. We haven't kept intellectual people that offer different kinds of content. We haven't helped particular people to grow. If you are convinced that Steven's a part of that by leaving, I think you should also be convinced that our failure to let other people grow in the space and other voices and kinds of content develop is also at least part of that problem, right? So I would hope that we could at least kind of meet halfway on both of those there. Anywho, I'm going to go back to the chat. I'm going to listen to you guys for a little bit, read out your stuff. So if you have some comments, some questions, some concerns, I'll read that, rant over. But that's what I'm saying is just because, you know, spice is good, you like spice, that don't mean we don't want mild curry at the restaurant, dude. Let me see here. So when there's been enough time in between to forget how much the runs suck. Yeah, exactly. You need that time. You need that cool down time for a lot of people. Except Chud is a hypocrite fascist who only accepts people who agree with him. I don't think that's the case. How long is Rhetoric Expert going to spend on 1 hour spicy curry analogy? As long as it takes. Yeah, no. Bookie is way fucking off. If people are at level 10, maybe don't walk past the warning level 80 area. Fucking R slurs. That R slur shit, I think that somebody should time you out for that because you're in a different chat now, buddy. So I don't encourage that nonsense, dude. But you know, so what? I'm gonna give you 10 minutes for that. Come back with a better attitude. Let's see here. Lol cows, like 99.9% of creators. I don't think 99.9% of creators are lol cows, but we travel in different circles, friend. The people that best serve the interest of the viewership will get the most viewers. Sure, but I'm saying there are different viewers that exist with different tastes. There are some people who could never stomach level 3 spicy, and that's okay. I think we should serve all those people so we have more people come into the downtown area wanting curry, because eventually they might try the other thing and they might find they like it. My mom used to say to my little sister when she was growing up, it's from some, you know, kids TV show, you try it, you like it. Sometimes you try shit, then you like it, but that's the only way to figure out what you like. When you realize levels are going down, not up. I don't know what that emote is. Book is a level system believer. We lost one, boys. What does that even mean? What is this levels? You guys don't like levels? So a Chud viewer isn't an intelligent viewer in your opinion? No, that's not what I'm saying. Like, oh God. No, that's not what I'm saying, and I don't feel like that's fair, but I'll go ahead and explain anyways, because I try to be patient with the viewers. So no, what I'm saying is people that like super, you know, like, I think Chud's admitted this in this very stream. There are some people who are very educated on particular topics, and they're fun to listen to because they're educated on those topics, which Chud is not. So for instance, if we're talking about somebody like Not So Erudite, who has a background in psychology, or Mr. Girl, these sorts of people are going to be interested in for their psychology takes, for their background, for what they add because of their education. Chud admittedly doesn't have that kind of education stuff, and frankly, he doesn't cater to those sorts of people in part because of that, right? So if somebody came on the website and all they want are like professionals telling them stuff, and that's what they like to listen to, if there's somebody who likes to listen to other things that are like that are accessible on the internet, there should be a space for them here, and there should be streamers for them here. I think another good example of somebody who's really well read and fun to listen to might be what was it? Silly Serious, right? Like, I think we need diverse kinds of people because different people are going to like different content. As a Chud viewer, you may not enjoy Silly Serious because she doesn't do what Chud does. And Chud certainly doesn't do what Silly Serious does. So it's not a hit on like intelligent viewers or whatever. I thought I've made it clear that there is also overlap. There is somebody who enjoys listening to Silly Serious talk about some psychology or some philosophy book that she read. And they might be the same people who, you know, crack a fucking cold one, rip the fucking bong, and like to listen to this guy roast people, right? These people exist, you know? They're like, it's no hit on your intelligence that you watch Chud. I'm not saying that at all. So you're implying Chud viewers aren't intellectuals? No. You guys got to be a little bit more fair with the way you listen to people, frankly. You've got to say someone's argument / action / self are immoral and terrible for max drama. Can't we all get along? And each to their own is very true, but no blood in those sports. Yeah, for sure. And that's what I'm saying is I think IRI is missing or fighting an uphill battle because he's telling the spicy restaurant not to serve spice. That's not going to work. Anywho, I'm going to scroll back down and see if I can catch maybe some things that have been responding what I've been saying recently. Maybe there's a different way you can word the intelligence thing. Maybe I'm missing something on why that is a recurring theme here. People are free to watch what they're interested in, and if they're liking junk food, then that's on them. Yeah, sure. Is the dono goal still actually at 3? Yeah, not happening. I'm happy about that. No need for it. People have been donating on YouTube to get around it, and I have appreciated it. So, yeah, no, I don't think we're gonna have to suffer through that, and thank God for it. I don't like watching XQC streams, so I watch others. Yeah, there you go. But a lot of people like XQC, right? And I wouldn't say that we want XQC to stop being XQC. People can like spicy food, but don't get mad when those who are not in on the joke don't get it. Sure, that too, right? Maybe some people that go to the spicy restaurant, they don't get why people like the spicy food, whatever. Different tastes, different people. It's going to be hard to explain.